Well, I've been kicked out of my near every bar around. I've been locked up for driving 120 through town. I've been shot at and cut with a knife, messing around with another man's wife. But other than that, we ain't nothing, just good old boys. Threw my boss out the window and got fired for my last
pointing
job.
at it.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Wade and Carter Show. Ash Brent, glad you're here on a Monday. Warmer day today.
Let's just get this out in the open. Ash doesn't feel great. He's cheating death to be here. He could be a little surly. Just saying, it's a Monday.
I don't know why you got to front me like that.
I'm just fronting you out because I feel bad for you, and if you snap at someone, if you all of a sudden morph into
there's
me,
only two people in the studio to snap at.
if there's two people
Cody's
like me
all
on the
the way over
program,
there.
it could be bad. It'd be the belligerent hour. There's Judge Posey, first one in. Good morning, sir, followed by Rena Shear and Scott Tomko. That's three of the best listeners we've got, period, followed by Justin Glass, Greg Garcia. Greg Garcia's
Learning.
schlepping back to just morning.
Yeah.
It was morning. Good sirs. Hope you're having a great day. Which
Got him
is
too far away from the podium.
It's a long way from more.
Yeah.
Scott Snow, Mark Kurtz, good morning, buddy. Bobby Leister,
Ricky King, Mark Zapata, Ryan Hopping, Micah
Ricky
Patton,
Champagne King,
Marvin Mickish, Sherry Jacobs, Heather Stewart, Lisa Poole, Andrew Alvarez, good morning.
the Andrew Alvarez campaign
Monty Howard checking in.
checks in. The Wade and Carter weather is brought to you by our friends at AT Deerland Feed. For everything you need, there's Deerland Feed. We encourage you to get by today. It's 40 degrees in Victoria under what is going to be called, a while ago it said mostly clear skies. Now, maybe that was before sunup. I don't
Maybe.
know. But now they're calling it mostly sunny skies. With a
Well,
high
that makes
today of
sense. No
71.
sun. You can't have sunny skies with no sun.
That's true.
There's Buddy Stavanoa, Junior Samples.
Junior Samples is in. Good to see Junior.
First Day Bank, UHV Sports Update. Claude Jacobs Intercollegiate Golf Tournament going on today.
Can you go out and walk the course and watch golf?
You sure can.
Hi,
The
Peace Strauss.
women's teams will play at Colony Creek, and the men's teams will play at Victoria Country Club. Baseball took 3 from Texas College over the weekend, so they are now, 15-2, undefeated in conference. And
I tell you what.
softball team swept their conference opener against Houston Tilson. Run ruled in both games. Off to a good start, and we'll play again on Tuesday. So there you go.
15-2 is pretty good.
Pretty good start, yep.
Well, you find yourself, those of us that follow baseball, you find a way to win 60% of your games. You're playing pretty good baseball. You go 6-4, that's like going 3-2. That's like winning every series. You win every series, you win the championship.
Except college, you got to win a little bit better than a 60% clip. I
Yeah.
think.
Well, and I think UHV typically does. They have a good program over there. I like to say it starts at the top. In this case, it really just flattens out right there with Coach Stav. Ash has very little to do with baseball.
Pat Strauss, Jordan Glass, H.A. Louderback.
See right there, like there's no, like I can needle you. You're just not
You
up
could
for it.
today. No,
You're just
not
not
up
up
for
for it.
it,
Okay,
no.
I'm not going to kick you
Not
when you're
gonna
down.
not going to get surly today.
No, I'm just not going to kick you
Not
when
with
you're
you.
down. Right? Thank you. I love you too.
The-
Good morning, Sheriff
yeah.
Louderback.
I thought it was funny. I mean, aside from some good natured ribbing from one friend last week after Canada beat the U.S. in hockey, the number of people that were calling for me to leave this country because I cheered for Canada was just absurd.
Were they really?
Yeah.
Like with mean-spiritedness? Like,
yeah.
just go on
yeah,
home
it was
then.
serious, all seriousness. Yep.
Oh, come on.
And the funny thing
they're
is, these
not
are
hockey
people.
fans.
No, they don't watch hockey
No.
ever. This is the first time they've watched a game. Some of them probably since the Miracle on Ice, if even then. And the only thing that they remember about that was Kurt Russell played
And they
Herb
think
Brooks
that was
in
the
the movie.
gold medal game,
Yeah.
which it of
wasn't.
course wasn't. Who'd they beat? Sweden for the gold?
Yeah.
I
It
knew,
was Sweden.
I knew, but I thought I'd make it conversational.
I think it was Sweden.
Paul Rodriguez, straight off his comedy tour. Paul, good to see you.
David Glass, Jared McCrugan, AJ Louderback, Jordan Glass, Will Vincent. Good
Hey,
morning.
Will.
Where to start? A few states, I guess, raising minimum wage.
Yeah, it's interesting. So you
Mike
got
Blasky,
Mike
good morning.
Blasky, good morning, buddy. You you go with your state rate or the Fed rate, whichever's higher. That's the way that goes. The federal rate is $7.25, and Texas just goes along with, and it's been that since 2009, and we just go along with it. Saw a study today said that to equate for inflation and all that, just to be the equivalent of $7.25, you'd have to make $10.70 an hour now. People still get lost that a minimum wage job was never intended to be a living wage. If you are a person who lives off of a minimum wage job, you need to arm yourself with the gift of education and or find a skill and go do something. Unless you're retired and you just want something to do and you say, hey, I'll be a hostess at a restaurant. I'll do it for minimum wage. I just want to be around people. That's fine. But if you're a person who lives in our community and you're working for minimum wage, you should be taking courses at night.
It wasn't you, Ricky. Like I said, I excused my friends. I know it was just joshing, but there were people that were calling for Canadians to leave the U.S. if they were cheering for Canada.
And I don't have a problem with that, but not over hockey.
No.
If all the Canadians want to go home, that's okay.
Yeah.
But not over hockey.
Over free health care? No, don't want to do that either.
Ash says, Junior tells me to be nice. It's not everyone gets to work with his personal hero.
Yeah.
That's true. I have to be nice to Ash.
Oh, I thought he was talking about being nice to Junior.
Oh, I'm always nice to Junior. Junior's my guy.
Johnny Houghton says, how about Dan Bongino being
He adds.
Yeah.
He first said, Ash, I was just picking on you. I still like you. Now he adds, Ash, I was just picking on you. I still like you and know you're not a traitor.
Yeah.
Wow. Over hockey.
Over hockey.
So here's a dumb question. Just being realistic. I scoff and dismiss Canadian football. Have you ever seen a Canadian football team that one way or the other, either the NFL team goes there and plays by their rules or they come here and play by the NFL rules? Has there been a CFL team that could beat an NFL team?
I think in the 70s they played a few of those games and they were pretty close. But high schools, apparently the Canadian teams come down here and beat all-star Canadian teams, beat all-star U.S. teams all the time. And
Is that
in
right?
Florida, yeah.
And then a lot of those players end up playing in the States.
Yeah, they go to college down here.
Right. Tammy Studer checking in.
Yep.
Good morning, ma'am. Dollar Floor Store. Huh? You think you got to go to the house? Well, you go. You go. We can handle this. Show me some news and you can go. Ash doesn't feel well. Yeah, I break out in a sweat every time I'm around you. You feel free. Take it to the house. Folks, Ash is going to go to the house, but as you know, we will press on. He would want it. That's what he would want. In fact, yeah, well, we'll start there. Pope Francis not doing well. He's, Cody, you're hot now. You can talk anytime you want.
My wife says I'm hot all the time.
And just like that, I muted his mic.
Perfect.
Tell you what, let's get down. Let's do see what's going on with the Pope. And this is just obviously important, historic, religious figure. Pope Francis received high flows of oxygen after suffering a respiratory crisis, but had a peaceful night in the hospital. The Vatican said he is 88 years old. He's in critical condition. He developed an asthmatic respiratory crisis, which is obviously terrible. And, you never know. At 88, he could pass. I don't know who. I don't think they ever talk about successors while the current pope is still alive, but there's certainly a group of bishops that are keeping an eye on things. Tragic. I've been reading and listening and studying a lot because I want to keep you guys in the loop as pertains to not so much hypocrisy, but the realities of what's going on right now. I find it interesting, like, people have been just going bonkers about Donald Trump firing a couple of generals, which he did. And I heard just this morning that as a reference point, when Barack Obama took over the presidency from George Bush, he relieved of duty 197 military officers.
That's crazy.
So Barack Obama came in and laid off and fired and replaced 197 generals. Now we know now that, not generals, military officers. We know now that some of those folks were, replaced with the woke left. Donald Trump comes in and fires 2 generals and replaces them, which is his prerogative. And all of a sudden it's chaos. It's chaos at the Pentagon. Who's running? Who's running our military? Well, Donald Trump is. He's the commander in chief.
Right.
So the idea that he lays off a couple of generals is no big deal. I found it interesting. There was a general, and the media seizes on this. A guy named C.Q. Brown was the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, and he's been replaced by Lieutenant General, which is a 2-star general, I believe, John Dan Raisin Kane. They call him Raisin Kane. Says it's an extraordinary move since Kane is retired and is not a 4-star general. Well, what's interesting about that is the distinguished and very qualified Joint Chief of Staff, C.Q. Brown, happened to be black. So it's just immediately, it's a mean-spirited, racism-driven move on behalf of Trump. They don't mention that he also relieved, in the same memo, essentially, a white female and a white male. So 2 out of 3 were white, but clearly this is racially motivated. Good morning, Mom. So my mom check in there. So say hi to everybody. Stephanie Connie.
We've got a good crew this morning.
Yeah, and wait, we'll just kind of do our ads as we go.
There you go.
There's John Turner checking in, said ribeye sale at the Chopping Block, Victoria. See, they have more than one location. They have a location in Houston as well. Full menu and fajita Monday on the food trailer. If you just go out there and let Sean Neely just say, hook me up, I'm with Wade and Carter, the food will be awesome.
Instead of going out for Valentine's Day, we bought some food at the chopping block, and we got these chicken breasts, and they were stuffed with spinach and cheese and sun-dried tomatoes. Best chicken we've ever had in our lives.
Now, what do you do with that? You just bake it?
We grilled it.
You grilled it.
And then we got the jalapeno poppers and the asparagus with the bacon. It was all so good.
That is awesome.
They do amazing.
They do a great job. And there's some things that you pay for. You can go to a box store.
Right.
And you can buy their pre-made stuff. Maybe it's their poppers or whatever. And I just feel violated every time I do. Because honest, if I were to go home and cut up 1 pound of jalapenos, one little $5 thing of cheap bacon, and a block of cream cheese doesn't cost anything. I can wrap those, stick them on the grill. It's just the time involved. Right. But at the chopping block, they do some creative things. The big steakhouse asparagus and things that you want. You just can't. I mean, you could do it at home, but you can't do it any cheaper than you can buy it from.
Well, I want to say that we spent $28 or something. It was. I mean, we couldn't have gone out to eat for it at all.
No, and
it was phenomenal.
And how long you've been married?
7 years.
Yeah. So see, nothing just reeks of an extended marriage. Like, hey, honey, I saved $1 on Valentine's.
That's
right. That's really how you do it. That's how you know that your relationship is stable and it's going to last, when you can go, I thought about buying you flowers. I take Dawn to H-E-B, and we each walk down the card aisle, and we pick one out, and we exchange them, and then we put them back.
Put them back, right.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like,
this is what I would have bought you.
It's like when you're out with another couple and you realize that she's wearing a dress with a tag on it. You don't tell her because she may be planning to take it back.
Right.
Yeah. Look at there. You know who that is right there? You want to talk about being saved by the bell. You know who just walked in the door?
I don't.
Well, that's Daniel San Miguel right there.
Whoa.
That's my man.
The man.
Come join me, brother. I'm good. So here's the deal. You have to talk right into this microphone. Just come right over here by me. That's Cody Ballman, Daniel San Miguel. How are you, my friend? Good. Talk right into that microphone. And that's us. And we're live on Facebook.
Okay.
So this really gives us a jumping off point. There's some other news to talk about. I don't know how long you have this morning, but I want to share that we touched last week on the idea that there's some chicanery going on in Goliad. We don't know what it is. We don't know all the details, but something's just not right. And I'll preface it by saying you may have a little bit of a biased opinion, but at least you're closer to the fire than we are.
Yes, sir.
So that's fair, right? I mean, it's not that you don't have strong opinions about what's going on because you know what's going on. But I just kind of do me a favor. Good morning, Matt Boucher. Let me take a quick break and thank our sponsors. And then you and I will delve into, we'll just start wherever you want to start.
Yes, sir.
All right. So, folks, Went Services, Went for all your electrical needs. Let Aaron Went and his team from their family-owned business come out and give you a quote on a turnkey generator. They will lay the conduit, make the connections. They'll connect it to your fuel source, whether it's gas, natural gas, propane, whatever. They have diesel generators. They have gasoline generators. But they can help you with a turnkey whole house generator. Give them a call at Went Services. They'll take care of it. We talked about the chopping block. Brand us. Let Cody help you with all your website needs, product development needs. You want to profitize, monetize your web page, that he can help you with that. Reach out to Brand Us. Find them on Facebook, Atzenover and Atzenover.com. Since 1926, Atzenover has been Victoria's dealership. They are still the best of the best of the best, period. Reach out to Atzenover for your next vehicle, white trash services, for all your trash-tastic needs. And if you have a slight, like an old barn or something unsightly on a piece of property and you want to tear it down, but you don't know how to do it, they can tear it down and bring it back. You see that?
Yes, I was.
And then Palace Bingo, where friends meet friends. So 550-1826 to talk to a live person at White Trash. And then Palace Bingo, where friends meet friends. Reach out to them and have a great time with family and friends at Palace Bingo. All right, so we're joined by Daniel San Miguel. I'm going to lay the table as much as I know. You see how close I am?
Yes, sir.
They're going to appreciate you. You can move that. You are in charge of that microphone. I'm going to lay the groundwork as best I can. Going into January, you had an opponent. You were running for constable.
Yes, sir.
And you actually ended up not winning that race by 23 votes.
23 votes.
23 votes. So, mas o menos, put them in a bag, shake them up. The community likes you both. The guy who won has now, he's going to move, or he's moving away from the community, correct?
He resigned on February 7th.
He was elected in January and resigned on February 7th, but he didn't know he was moving at the time.
No.
Okay. Well, see, that's the rumor that we had heard, and you've helped.
Yeah, it wasn't known that he was going to move. This has been an ongoing thing in Goliad with the county judge and myself. We don't get
That's
along.
R.M. Bennett.
R.M. Bennett. He came from Houston, came into Goliad, brought some of his big city politics into our town, made a lot of questionable moves and suggestions, and unfortunately, he's got some support on the commissioner's court that they seem to go along with. Not all of them, but some of them just go along with whatever he says. And
We see votes of like 3-2 and that kind of
it's
stuff.
always that way. He's always the tiebreaker. It's you have two that actually are really pro Goliad people, and two that are just kind of questionable. And unfortunately, they're the ones that decide who to appoint. Kevin Story was actually appointed before he was appointed to the constable's position after the constable who was there was, for lack of better terms, run off by the county judge. She was the second constable that got run off practically by the county judge. And a gentleman was put in her place for Constable Precinct 2. Precinct 1 was open. I'm from Goliad. I've lived in Precinct 1 for right at 25 years. I've been in law enforcement in Goliad for over 20 years, worked under 3 sheriffs and 2 constables.
Well, so I found it interesting, some of the stuff that you read, like on Facebook and things, were like, you know, and I only put zero credence in these things that I read because they're always written by somebody from a specific angle, right? Either they like the judge or they don't like the judge. This particular writer did not like the judge, but the fact of the matter is he'd like fired 2 women here and 1 woman there. And it's like, the claim is he's misogynistic. He doesn't like women. I don't know if that's the case or not. I find it interesting, and this is what our audience found interesting, and Ash and I discussed, that the main point to me is that as this elected gentleman is leaving the community, the commissioner's court appears to be okay with just not replacing him and actually doing away with that second constable in your community at a time when human trafficking, drugs, illegal aliens are at an all-time high. Why would any law enforcement driven community get rid of a position, and why would the sheriff be complicit in that?
My opinion, because they didn't want me in the office.
Okay.
They don't want me in that office for some reason. I don't know if it's a personal problem. I don't know if it's a political problem. I'm not sure. I'm the furthest thing from being a politician, and I think, and I'm really not a yes man.
That might be part of the problem.
I'm a peace officer. That's what I do. My job since 1991, when I went to the police academy here in Victoria, I do law enforcement. That's what I do. And I'm in Refugio now. I still live in Goliad, but the sheriff's office in Refugio picked
You're
up
working
my
with
license.
Tuttle?
Yes.
Good for you.
Yes. I
He's
started
going to
working
do
over there
great
with,
things over there. We knew Pinky well, but Tuttle's going to do a good job over there.
he's a good man. He's a good man. I'm waiting on my swearing in. We just went and qualified and everything, but I'm going back to work over there with him. But back to when the constable got let go, they were going to appoint a constable. So of course I said I wanted to do the job.
23 votes. I mean, half the community's like, yay, give us Daniel.
Well, this was for prior to the election. Out of nowhere, they bring in this gentleman, Kevin Story, who also from Houston, retired fireman, came in. The judge decided he wanted a constable / fire marshal. And that's how he wanted to bring this position in. Instead of just being a constable, he wanted to have a fire marshal in Goliad, which still don't understand why Goliad would actually need a fire marshal, but that's what he was pushing for.
Which it sounds like he was pushing to not have you.
Right.
Okay.
So what he
I'm
did
with
was he was able to get him appointed with the 3-2 vote again. Commissioners Edwards and Commissioner Young voted for me, and the other 2 voted for Mr. Story, and then the county judge, of course, broke the tie with his appointee that he wanted. So they got him appointed. He became the fire marshal / constable. Election rolled around. Felt like I was running against 3 different people when it was just me and Kevin Story. I lost by 23 votes, which did show I had the support. Just thought once he left, they would go ahead and appoint again. But then the word got out that he wanted to abolish the constable position for Precinct 1, have 1 constable, and which would have meant they had to have 1 JP. We have 2 JPs and 2 constables. If you get rid of a constable position, you have to get
Right,
rid of
because
the
somebody's
JP.
got to do all the service and be the bailiff, if you will, in his court and all those things.
So he asked for permission to send the paperwork up to get the position abolished. Mr. Louderback sent the paperwork back saying that it was completely up to the county court.
As a matter of law, I believe it is up to the court, and they do have the levity to remove 1 position.
Right.
But I also know that when we do some research, I know that Sheriff Louderback was like, I don't think this is in your best interest. It doesn't, just because you can do something doesn't mean you should do something.
And he was very adamant about saying,
Yes.
you know, you reconsider this or give it to the people to vote on. Don't let commissioners vote on something like this. You should let the people vote on it.
Right.
So lo and behold, I started online petitioning to not have this position removed. Well, new agenda came out on Friday, and the position's not going to be removed from Goliad County.
There you go. Are you going to be appointed?
No.
Okay.
Apparently, on item number 6 on the agenda is the discussion and action to appoint a constable of precinct 1. I have been contacted about that.
So
And-
is it possible that at their commissioner's court today, they're going to simply discuss, since they had a 3-2 vote to abolish it,
Right.
do they maybe have a 3-2 vote to reinstate it and then begin
Well, they
the
never did
process?
abolish it. They never did get it abolished.
Okay.
So what they're doing now is instead of abolishing it, they're going to appoint a new constable.
But and we don't know that it won't be you. You just haven't been contacted.
Right. Right.
And your experience tells you it won't be you.
Right. Right.
Okay.
I'm being kept out of there for some reason, and the only thing I can figure out is I would investigate shenanigans and chicanery, and
Right.
maybe that's not what they want there.
Well, so let's get to that. You've got a county auditor, and you hear all kinds of things. So this is just rumor and conjecture and all that. And if you want to fill in some gaps, do.
Sure.
But I heard that there had been some concerns over some expenses in the county, and that when this particular auditor brought those things to light, that the county judge wasn't thrilled. I don't know if they were the county judge's expenses or if they were the SO's expenses. I don't know where the expenses came out, but I do know or have read that the county auditor is actually appointed by the district judges and falls under their authority, and that the county commissioners can't just vote to get rid of her.
Right. She's not employed by the county itself, so there was no justification on locking her out of her office or taking her out of the IT system.
Which, by the way, is really bizarre to me that she was, like, on February the 10th was told you're no longer needed, essentially, and on the 11th her keys didn't work.
Right.
I mean, it just seems bizarre to me, unless you're going to allege that she's a criminal. And and which, by the way, I've not heard anybody allege that she's done anything but yeoman's work over there.
Yes, sir. I've not heard anything about her having any kind of malfeasance in her job or lack of competency in her job. So it was kind of strange. They did have a motion for the judge and the sheriff to go to before the district judge.
Yes, Judge Kemper Williams, Bebo Williams did say, look, you are hereby ordered to not only appear in my court. It was going to be on Friday at 9, and it would move to Friday at 2.
Right.
But not only, which did you attend?
I did.
We will get to that. Not only were they ordered to be there, they were ordered to not do anything to inhibit. What is the county auditor's name? We just keep saying the county auditor, the lady. What's her name? Do you know it? I put you on the spot.
Yes, you did.
I know that.
I'm
I don't know.
sorry.
You know, it's not something that just comes off the tip of your tongue. Good morning, Torrin Bales, Jeff Finley. Good morning. So, tell us about that hearing that you went to, because the judge in his letter appeared irritated with these two.
He was irritated. It sounded to me. It seemed like he wanted them to show cause of why they did what they did. Well, I keep saying it was pretty much Judge Bennett.
Okay.
Judge Bennett doing what he did. They actually showed up with an attorney, which I've had people ask me from the county, who paid for the attorney? Was that coming out of our taxpayers' dollars to have
There
an
you
attorney
go.
for the judge to be
You
there?
never know.
I told them they need to get the Freedom of Information Act, and they can find out who it was, who paid for the attorney and who's paying for all the trips to Austin and everything else that's going on.
Right.
But what we did was I sat in the courtroom with about 40, 45 other people and listened to Judge Williams, actually his boss from San Antonio, Leah Lockwood.
Her name is Lee Lockwood. That's the county auditor for Goliad County.
So
Thank you, Commander Cody.
So what we had was
Your
the-
mic's on.
the boss, Judge Williams's boss from San Antonio came down since Judge Williams recused himself, being so close to
Sure,
to
you got a
Goliad.
district judge recusing himself and letting I guess like a regional guy come in. A
His
peer.
boss came in, and the attorney, he had some good points. There was 2 different items in the show cause paperwork, but one of the questions that got brought to my attention was they said that they took Miss Lockwood out of the system for safety reasons, security reasons, cyber attacks, and things like that. Yet they left her, the secretary's assistant. She was still in the system.
Okay.
What they didn't tell people either was because they locked Miss Lockwood out of the system, she was laid on the payroll to get payroll out to everything. She couldn't do her job.
Right.
So, but they got the letter from Judge Williams saying let her back in the system. Don't keep her out of her office. So they have to abide by that. The judge that oversaw the court this past Friday, pretty much a slap on the wrist and told them, leave her alone until they have the.
So I mean,
they
in
have a meeting.
fairness, did it turn out that the judge hadn't so egregiously violated the law that he had kind of? Because I keep wondering where he got the authority to lock her out of her office. That would be like, honestly, like our mayor locking Judge Williams out of the courthouse.
Right.
It's not your world.
Over in Goliad, that's exactly the way the county judge is. He believes that's his world, and he does.
Well, we have a thing called elections, and
Yes, sir.
Goliad, I know you listen. Our listeners here all seemed to chime in that in an era of rampant corruption and everything else, not necessarily in Goliad, but just in general, do you really want to get rid of the person that monitors the spending? And apparently, and by the way, because she answers to the district judges, that's by design to where she can't be, quote unquote, in cahoots
Right.
with county electeds. She can't be in cahoots with them because she doesn't report to them.
She does all her the checks and balances on the county, and
I
she
mean,
does her
don't we
job well.
need that now more than ever? It sounds kind of Doge-like to me. I kind of like it.
Yes, sir.
I like it. I like that there's another set of eyes looking out for your tax dollars. And then it just raises whether I'm right or wrong, whether the judge is right or wrong. There's no disclaimers here because I'm not afraid of anybody being upset with me. The reality is it makes you question what's going on that you need to get rid of that.
I know that a lot of his supporters that have supported him have kind of started seeing the light now. And I had a gentleman talk to me last night that told me he's lost his support and his trust in the judge, and he lost the trust in the sheriff as well. So it's if you watch the videos from the commissioners' courts meetings we have in Goliad, which they record every one, there's a lot of counties that actually make fun of our county commissioners' court to say
Right.
it's a circus and things like that, and the shouting from the county judge at the county commissioners, and just the strong arming of everybody. It's too much.
Very interesting. There's Will Franklin, Chief Deputy here in Victoria County, says checks and balances the American way.
Yes, sir.
I mean, I can't imagine the same situation here in Victoria County. I can't. I'm trying to picture the players involved. I don't picture our own Judge Zeller, being at odds with someone that he didn't appoint or wasn't elected. I just can't picture that happening here, where our county judge would be at odds with Judge Williams. I just can't see it. And that's because it makes no sense.
Right.
There should be ways for them to resolve whatever's going on.
It's called elections.
And to me, it just seems like a desperate ploy. Somebody doesn't want somebody to see something. Now, that may be a broad, sweeping statement, but those of you that are listening with an open mind have to agree something ain't right over there in Stinky Town. So you got that going on. And Goliad, by the way, you know, there's some power struggles going in. You'll notice that all around us, Sheriff Tuttle, Sheriff Vickery, our sheriff in DeWitt County, Sheriff Marr, they're all members of the Texas Sheriff's Regional Alliance, whereas Sheriff Boyd has kind of gone off on his own with his own club, and I mean, when you have elected officials and 16 of them are over here,
Right.
and one of them's over there, and then you find out that the one that's over there puts money into other elections in other counties, trying to build a power base.
Right.
And then you've got a judge that apparently thinks that he's powerful. I mean, it just makes you wonder what's going on in Goliad. And I'm telling you, it's just a matter of time before the Texas Rangers come down here and say, hey, we're the police, and we want to know what's going on. And when that happens, the county auditor, who's already probably got a burr under her saddle, is going to say, well, here's what I know. And all of a sudden, it ain't going to look too good over there in Stinky Town. So I wish them nothing but the best. I know there are a lot of good people in Goliad County. And for their sake and for their honor, I hope that all this gets sorted out, if not amicably, swiftly and judiciously. I hope it's fair to everybody concerned.
Yes, sir.
Tell me your plans. What do you do? So day in, day out, you're a sheriff's deputy.
No, actually,
No? What do you do?
Right now, I'm actually a manager with AT&T.
Okay.
I've been with them 25 years, so I'm getting ready to do my retirement. And I worked in Goliad, like I said, under 3 different sheriffs. I actually worked for 2 different constables in Goliad. So I've done the constable job, done the sheriff's department job, do patrol. That's what I love to do. Patrol is my thing. I like.
And
to
that's
do that.
extremely helpful. What a benefit to Sheriff Boyd to have a constable that's not coming out of his budget.
Right.
It's not coming out of his budget. Who's out? Maybe you're just patrolling the back roads. Maybe you're helping a farmer, a rancher, get his cattle back inside a fence.
Right.
Maybe you're delivering a warrant. Maybe you're dropping off a lawsuit. All the stuff that if you don't do it, if a constable doesn't do it, the SO has to do it
Right.
at the SO's budget expense and taking a man offline.
Yep.
To me, and that was my flag. What logic can you employ to get rid of a constable when it's not your budget and he doesn't have to report to you? It befuddles.
It does.
So I'm just like, hey, how can that be? We have some great constables here in Victoria County. Guys like Jeff Meyer, lifelong law enforcement guys who do a valuable job, a super valuable. Junior Sale says someone over there needs to look at any quick claim deeds and land movement. He says, I bet there's some deals going down. I don't know, but I do know this. I know that if the Texas Rangers show up, it will be ferreted out. And that's just something to think about, because it's at the sheriff's level and at the county judge level, it looks like you protest too much. Maybe that shouldn't be the case. But we'll see. Like I said, this is all conjecture and opinion, and I'm not here to judge anybody. I think everybody deserves due process, and we'll see what happens. But tell us how we can help if you have a suggestion, and tell us what your plans are going forward.
Well, as I was saying, the commissioner's court were on the agenda is to actually talk about and take action on appointing a new constable. Not sure who that's going to be. I've heard some rumors flying around of who it may be.
So they went from we're going to do away with the position
Now
to
we're
we've got somebody better than the guy that only lost by 23 votes.
Or we're going to put somebody else in there just so you don't get in there.
There you go.
That's pretty much what this is. But
I think the community of Goliad needs to step up for themselves and demand some kind of a recall on that.
there was a lady that had put out a petition to stop the abolishment of the constable position, and the second part was to appoint me to the position. It started gaining.
That
some
was super
traction.
nice of your wife. I just no, but it makes you wonder. It does make you wonder, folks. Like, does anybody really care enough about the constable position? It's not sexy. It's a guy who's dedicated to, or gal who's dedicated to doing a job. And it's not a glamorous job. And it's a job that some people, frankly, are upset with you about. You're handing them a lawsuit.
Right.
You're telling their kid to go to school. I mean, the next thing you know, there's going to be a handful of people, 23 at least, who don't want you there because you do your job.
And that's the thing. I'm going to keep doing my job. And eventually, once this sheriff is gone, or sheriff, I take that back. Once the county judge is gone, and
Sheriffs get elected too.
and that's true. And some of the commissioners on the court are gone and hopefully voted out of office if that's what their constituents see fit to do. Then possibly, I'm not going to give up on the position.
Well, what
I'm
you
gonna
do
keep
next
doing
time
it.
is you run for county commissioner. Just inject yourself into the mix and say, fine, I'll help make these decisions.
That's a political job. I'm more on the law enforcement side.
I respect you
don't-
so much for just saying that. Yeah.
and it's I don't know if you know my family, which apparently my family. One, I heard that my family wasn't electable, but I'm actually on my second term as a school board member with Goliad ISD.
Fantastic.
But I have a brother that's a state trooper.
We
here in
know your
Victoria.
brother. We know your brother from the greatest rodeo in the history of the world, the Goliad Rodeo. He's always there at the VIP
At the
tent.
VIP tent.
He always says, "You're back again. Your armband is getting worn out."
He's over here in Victoria. My brother Paul, who didn't get picked up by Boyd whenever Boyd took over sheriff, he went to Refugio. He works with Tuttle now. He started with Pinky, and then my little brother works as a reserve deputy here in Victoria as well for the sheriff's office.
There you go. Yeah, I think the comment was sarcastic.
I think so.
I think it was a sarcastic. You got a family of law enforcement folks, a family of people that have given back to the community for decades. And we really like your brother. I always tell him, give me a head start. Just don't pull me over. Give me a head start.
He's doing his bicycle rodeo this morning in Shiner, so
Fantastic.
that's why I was a little bit late. He left his powder he had to put on the ground for the lines for the bicycles and his
The
pickup.
talc, the white chalk.
He uses flour instead.
Nice.
So,
Well, it washes away.
biodegradable.
Absolutely. Well, we appreciate you taking
I
time to
greatly
come by.
appreciate you having me.
Daniel,
Thank you
thanks
so
so much. And look, please, you're going to hear things. Keep us posted. We gave a disclaimer, if you will, that, hey, he's a little bit biased. He's just telling you what he knows. I trust you to tell us, what's going on.
I'm a straight shooter. I'll
Yes,
let
sir, I
you know
believe
what I
that.
find out, and I'll definitely let the people know what's
I'd
going
love
on.
to have you come back.
What I would like to have is just the Goliad people that do support me, or the Goliad people that see the
Step
things
up.
that are going wrong. Go to commissioner's court, stand up, and voice your opinion. I mean,
Amen.
we put them in office, so
100%.
they should be doing what we want them to do.
Well,
But
come
thank y'all
back
for
and
having
see
me.
us. Thank you so much for your
Once
time,
again, thank you,
brother.
sir. I
bet.
appreciate you.
I'll see you again. And folks, that's kind of what we pride ourselves on here is we talked about this on Friday, and Daniel reached out, and we just visited on Friday, and here he is on Monday. You may read about this someday in a newspaper. We just brought you in the source of the comments. Folks, USA Concrete Coating, thank you. Thank you to Charlie Garcia and his team for making this program possible. 578-HOME, that's the number you need to dial, whether you want it sanded, painted, stained, whatever. They can do it. Veracruz Restaurant, it's a Monday. It's a great day to get back into Veracruz for the best Mexican food in town, period. The queso, the hot sauce, they make their own chips. They make their own tortillas. The food is fabulous. We talked about the dollar floor store. Everything you need. You need to put down laminate flooring, hardwood flooring, tile, 39 cents a square foot. Then you just find they can probably help you too, but you find your own installer. Get into the dollar floor store. Allen's Wrecker Service, 578-6300. Allen can help you get out of the ditch. They can help you ladies or men with a jump. They can help you get a vehicle from here to Refugio. for an oil field job, just don't want to drive it down there and have the 2 guys offline that don't make $7.25 an hour. Get with Allen's Wrecker Service. Let them help you. Paravita Wellness. Get in and get healthy. Paravita can help you so many ways. Whether you need to watch your calories, watch your carbs, whether you're on a pre or post bariatric diet, reach out to Paravita Wellness. Tell Erica Briggs what you want to accomplish, and she can help you do it.
And tell her you heard about us on the Wade and Carter show.
Absolutely. I encourage you every day. If you walk into Atzenoffer and you say, I want to say hi to Tommy Taylor, I encourage you to say, hey, man, Wade and Carter sent us. That is the feedback. When you're at Veracruz, hey, Wade and Carter sent us. That's the feedback, that subtle statement of truth that helps us stay on the air.
And it helps the people that are advertising know that it's working for them.
Right. And if you don't like the program, then go into, Veracruz and say, I did not hear about you on Wade and Carter. That's fine. You can do that as well. Chesnick Furniture, Chesnick and Love make your house a home. Be aware that you just always do better at Chesnick. So there you go. Our comments seem to have dried up. And I don't know if people were just stunned at the candidness of Daniel San Miguel, but I really appreciate his time. Let's see what we've got in the form of breaking news. I found it interesting that Dan Bongino, now they call him let's see which article I'm on here. I'm on the Epic Times. They refer to him as a conservative commentator and former Secret Service agent. Will serve as the next deputy director of the FBI. I found this interesting, probably not any more shocking than Kash Patel, who was confirmed as the director of the FBI. Bongino has a lifetime of law enforcement and service. I think he'll do a great job, and I think he also immediately puts a conservative mouthpiece into the organization where people will say they're used to hearing him talk, and I think he will, I think he's going to tell people what's going on. I just read right here, Ukrainian President Zelensky said that he would immediately resign as president in exchange for his country gaining NATO membership. To me, all that really means is he would step aside if Europe would pick up the tab for his war. Mm-hmm. When you get into a point, there is the principle of a conflict, there is the emotional side of a conflict, and I get both. I respect the Ukrainians for saying, we're not going to take this. Russia invaded us. We're going to fight to the last man, woman, and child. But if you do that, there just won't be anything left, and Russia will get it by default. I've seen wars that you can't win, Afghanistan being one that we chose to leave.
Right.
But the difference is we just came back across the ocean, right? These people still have to live right there next to Russia. And I don't know, it's only by the grace of Vlad Putin that they haven't been nuked already. I mean, even if it was a little dirty nuke terrorism-based operation, Putin could send a much bigger message than he has chosen to send because he doesn't want the U.S. to accelerate our involvement. I don't think it's right if the U.S. actually walks away from Ukraine, but I also don't think it's wrong for our State Department to say, hey, Europe, you take the next $300 billion, and then we'll be back. Y'all take the next $300 billion. So that's of interest. Israel put the release of Palestinian prisoners on indefinite hold until Hamas can guarantee that the next release will be without humiliating ceremonies. I don't know what the humiliating ceremonies were. I know that they turned over some dead bodies. Israel gives them living, breathing, well cared for prisoners. Hamas gives them dead bodies that they then turn around and blame on Israel. Well, they died in an airstrike. Okay, sure. I can't argue with that. That may have happened. You never know.
One of the things I find real interesting about the Russia and Ukraine war is this isn't the first war they've been in together.
Right.
In fact, if we go back in history, obviously names have changed a little bit over time, but as early as 1658, these two countries were in war, and there's been 14 of them, different battles, different times that they were fighting against each other. And it's like, I don't know, at some point you just got to say, well, what's going to actually stop this?
It's something that we as Americans can't relate to. I can remember my father telling me years ago, oh, those Arabs have been fighting forever. And they have. And they're much more basic than we are. They're not fighting over cyber rights and intellectual property. They're fighting over sand.
I'm talking about Russia and Ukraine.
Yeah, but I mean, it translates across.
Oh, sure.
Europe and Asia and everywhere else. We've just been blessed to have a basically congenial relationship with Mexico and Canada. We haven't had to invade either one.
Right.
So there you have it. Frederick Mertz, no relation to Ethel, no T in his name, appears to be poised to be Germany's next leader. Why is that significant? He's a centrist conservative. Yeah. The far right, AFD. Now, the far right to me, when I think of Germany and I get into the far right, I start thinking about Nazis. I start thinking about fascists. I don't know. I don't know if that's the case or not. So, but it says the vote appears to be a rebuke of the nation's left-leaning government. I do want to read something to you today that I got from a valuable listener.
Now, this isn't Junior, is it?
No,
Okay.
much more valuable
Okay,
than
good.
Junior. 189 years ago today, Travis wrote his letter from the Alamo. Commandancy of the Alamo, February 24th, 1836. To the people of Texas and all Americans in the world, fellow citizens and compatriots, I am besieged by 1,000 or more of the Mexicans under Santa Anna. I have sustained a continual bombardment and cannonade for 24 hours and have not lost a man. The enemy has demanded a surrender at discretion. Otherwise, the garrison are to be put to the sword if the fort is taken. I have answered the demand with a cannon shot, and our flag still waves proudly from the wall. I shall never surrender or retreat. Then I call on you in the name of liberty and patriotism and everything dear to the American character to come to our aid with all dispatch. The enemy is receiving reinforcements daily and will no doubt increase to 3,000 or 4,000 in 4 or 5 days. If this call is neglected, I am determined to sustain myself as long as possible and die like a soldier who never forgets what is due to his own honor and that of his country. Victory or death. William Barrett Travis, Lieutenant Colonel, Commandant. P.S. The Lord is on our side. When the enemy appeared in sight, we had not 3 bushels of corn. We have since found in deserted houses 80 or 90 bushels and got into the walls 20 or 30 head of beeves. Travis. Even as things looked dire, Travis said, look, we've got food. We need help. As you know, that help did not arrive. Sam Houston was on his way. 189, I think it was 189 Texans, future Texans, Davy Crockett, people that came, died in the Alamo, murdered. There have been rumors that some escaped, but nobody ran. They stayed and fought. And what it did is it created the rally, Remember the Alamo.
Right.
Because if you go to the San Jacinto Monument and you read it, it says the Texans who requested no quarter from the Mexicans granted none here. They slaughtered the Mexicans I think in the early morning while they laid in their bunks. Many of them were slaughtered. There you go.
Did we talk about measles today?
We can. A lot of cases of measles.
There's a lot of them
Popping
developing out, especially here in Texas. 90 people since late January, according to the 1440. It was reported Friday by the Texas state health officials.
Yeah.
New Mexico reported 10 cases. I thought measles was pretty much gone. I guess I was wrong on that.
Well, it was, but these things cycle around, right? Polio, tuberculosis. And I think that the political angle on that is, well, that, this Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is against vaccines. And so now measles is kicking up.
Right.
He had nothing to do with that.
Right.
Why did Junior say that he spit out his eggs?
I guess because when I asked if he was the source for what you just read.
No.
Right,
Much more reliable.
Right. That would be my only guess. I don't know.
Quality listener, but
Do you think Ash had the measles when he came in this morning?
I am praying not. Although
hope
I've
not.
been vaccinated. Have you?
I have been vaccinated, yeah.
Sure, I'm good on that. I don't remember. Mumps was the one. I think I had mumps when I was a little kid, but I think mumps was the deal that it could, if you were an adult, could kill you and could make you sterile, I think was the deal.
That sounds right.
Yeah, mumps. Now,
What's the one
measles-
that left the big imprint on people's arms?
Yeah. Do you not have one?
No, I don't have
So
one.
I have one. It was they did that. I believe that's the one that I got at school. They
With the horse tranquilizer gun or
right,
whatever.
it had a
yeah.
whole bunch of needles, and it gives you
Yeah.
that little button on your arm.
Yeah. What was that from? Do you remember?
I don't know. So one of the moms out there will know.
I was like, somebody will remember.
yeah.
So when did you graduate high school?
1981.
Okay.
Stephanie Conley says the truth about it is all the unvaccinated illegals that the Biden administration let into the country. One of the hypocritical things that I knew about the Biden administration way back when was that they were rounding up these illegal folks, but they didn't vaccinate any of them. You would think that USAID or somebody
Oh, smallpox. Thanks, Monica.
Oh, good. Would be down there giving free vaccines. Hey, the least we can do
Right.
is save your life.
Yeah.
But apparently, no, they didn't. It wasn't that important because it was all just a political melee to begin with.
Wasn't that a part of the whole COVID deal when they were coming through at one point? Were we going to vaccinate or we're not
And they
vaccinated?
didn't. And they didn't vaccinate any of them. I mean, what's the worst thing that could happen? They would die. I mean, and did they not vaccinate them hoping they would die? I don't know.
I don't know.
Very interesting. But we didn't talk about this morning yet, but I was listening to a radio program where the guy, Mike Slater, was talking about these Dear Colleague letters. And one of them I recall because it was a big deal back during the Me Too movement where every woman had to be believed because, you're all victims of assault, that they lowered the bar for beyond a reasonable doubt to if a woman on a college campus accused a young man on a college campus of some type of sexual assault, the level of proof dropped down to a preponderance of the evidence. Was he in the building? Did he have access to her? Is it possible that he did it? If it's possible he did it, we're going to believe her. It took away the major components of due process. You could no longer cross-examine the witness because that might put her ill at ease. Never mind the fact that you're accusing a young man of rape, let's say, like the Duke lacrosse players who have all been exonerated but never forgotten, nor will they ever live that down. The point to that is the government at the time said, if you don't drop your level down to this, we will withhold federal funds from you. And it's an absurd concept anyway. We're going to take away your civil liberties in exchange for maintaining your institution's federal funding. Now, I bring that up because just the other day, if you listened, the governor of Maine got into a little bit of a word spat with the president when he said, "Where's Maine? Are you going to adhere to the rule?" And she goes, "I'm going to acknowledge and adhere to state and federal law." And Trump immediately said, "Well, this is the law. We are the law.
Right.
We're telling you what's going to happen." Is that the right way to do it? I don't know. Does he come off like a bully? Yes.
Yes.
But nobody seems to understand that the reason they were having this exchange is because he was telling her, if you don't adhere at the federal level with the idea that there's two genders, two sexes, men and women, and agree to keep transgenders out of women's sports. Can't believe we ever have to have this discussion.
Right. For sure.
But you have to keep men out of women's sports. If you don't listen to me, we're going to withhold your federal funding. Exactly what the Obama administration did. By the way, the Obama administration did another one. If you have a rule in school discipline that produces a disparate curve, for example, if we say that it's against the rules to punch, I know we're out of time, but listen to this. If it's against the rules to punch a teacher in the face, it is a neutral rule, even if it's applied fairly to everybody. If all of a sudden you start expelling or disciplining a disparate percentage of, say, black students, more black kids are punching the teacher in the face than white kids. If you discipline those kids, that rule then becomes racist by definition,
Right.
and that rule no longer applies. So that's just the way it is. Same thing in San Francisco. People were jumping the turnstiles to get on the BART. The law just said you can't jump the turnstiles. When more blacks than any other race were being caught doing so, the rule was determined to be disparate, and the rule was dismissed. And now anybody can jump the turnstile.
I can't.
I couldn't either. I'd have to have a little step ladder and maybe
Right.
some help. Absolutely. Folks, it's the top of the hour. Really want to give a special thanks to Daniel San Miguel for coming in. Seems like a fine gentleman. I welcome the other side of the pancake. If anybody from Goliad has anything to share, please call us. Just know that as soon as we have access to information, we get it to you. We wish you nothing but a great day, and God bless y'all. Have a great day.
Have a great day. Bye.
Well, I've been kicked out.